'Twas the night before Christmas, and here on the Money Show, not an investor was calling to see if their money should grow. Stocks were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that a bull market would soon be there. When out on Wall Street there arose such a clatter that I raced from my Bloomberg terminal to see what was the matter. When, what to my wondering eyes should appear, but old Don McDonald and 8 tiny reindeer. He sprung to his mic and he gave me a glare, and away they all flew like FTX shares. But I hear him complain ere he flew out of sight. Happy Christmas to all, and tell Tom, go fly a kite. All kidding aside, welcome to... that was just for fun. Talking Real Money. This is Christmas Eve, 2022. I'm Tom Cock, and I'm actually doing the show today. And you're out there probably doing all the things today that you wanted to do yesterday, since we were basically immobilized for 24 hours. What a weird situation with the ice. So, we'll take your questions and calls. They've got a bunch of them, but we'll take more at 855-935-8255. That's right. We are live here Christmas Eve, so all money-related questions, not how much you should spend on your spouse or something like that, but maybe saving, investing, those sort of things. But we take more general money questions. 855-935-TALK. 855-935-8255. Don McDonald is taking the day off. He's with his family, which is delightful. His mother and his wife and some of his kids, and I think some of his grandkids. So he's taking the day off. And then next Saturday, the 31st, I will be taking the day off, as my son Taylor gets married, and we'll be out of the area for that, and Don will be handling the show. So we will be here live those days, but the two of us will not be together. And the big news of the week is the secure, not the jingle bells. Apparently that's a big news item too. Is the Secure Act 2.0, not a name that I particularly love, by the way, but this passed the U.S. Congress. This is something that had been passed almost unanimously previously, and then got thrown into I think they call it the omnibus bill, the $1.7 trillion spending bill. And these are some changes about saving money, about retirement, and a few that I really like, and a few I don't think are going to have much impact. But it's always good to try to encourage all of us to save more and to think through retirement more. And I know these are not really popular topics on Christmas Eve, but they are really at the end of the year, because many of you have already called me and said, hey, I really want to get things cleaned up, set up for 2023. But Secure 2.0, let's talk about a few of the things that are in here regarding personal finance, which I think are going to, some of them, again, I really do like. I'll give you the one I love. Auto-enrollment at a rate of 3% for employees. In other words, auto-enrollment, in a 401k or 403b at 3%. So if you take a job, they're automatically going to start taking 3% of your paycheck and putting it into the retirement plan, which I love. I hate to say it, because I trust most of you, but when we're younger, we're not always looking at like 30 years from now. We're looking at 30 days from now. And we can't always envision the fact that one day, I'll be really old, like 65 years old, and I'll not want to work anymore. And if you haven't saved anything, if it hasn't grown after you've saved it, the likelihood is your retirement, your years after full-time work, will not be all that enjoyable. You can ask people that live on Social Security. It is not a great existence. Social Security was not designed for that either, by the way. But under Secure 2.0, again, employees would be automatically enrolled at least 3%, but not more than 10% of their pay. So that money's going to go right in there. And then if you don't know anything about investing, guess what? It's going to go right in a target date type of fund. That is a fund that is managed with how many years until you retire. The equity side, the stock side should be diversified. You got these bonds in there a little bit at the beginning, not very many. And then as you get closer to retirement, more bonds. I think that is great. I really do. And I think That makes total sense. Let's get more people, especially young people, to save. From there, I don't think it's very impactful. You got increasing the age when required minimum distributions need to start. Required minimum distributions are money that you have to take out of your qualified accounts, IRAs, 401ks, that kind of thing. Today it's 72. It was 70 and a half. But they're going to advance it to age 73 in 2023 and age 75 in 2033, which, interestingly enough, is the year I turned 75. So I can wait till 2033 to take my money out. We'll talk more about this, the Secure Act. I think we have a surprise guest, too. So we'll talk to him as well. 855-935-TALK. Thanks for joining us here on Talking Real Money.
Tom and Don are talking real money. Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hey, thanks for being part of Talking Real Money on the special Christmas Eve edition. Yeah, we're here. We're doing it live. And it was actually today had been setting up in my life to be a very easy day because we had everything kind of figured out. Everybody's coming over yesterday. We're going to do all the cooking, everything, final shopping, etc. And then, of course, Seattle went into its great shutdown, the great ice storm of 2022. And we literally could not walk out like you. Couldn't walk out even to the front. Yesterday morning, I got up and started to walk out with my dog and realized that if I took one more step, I'd be in orbit. So that moved everything to today. So I'm not very popular right now because they're putting together the cookies to take out. They're doing all the cooking for everybody coming over later and making sure the house is clean and ready to go. And I'm messing around doing this show. But, you know, that's the way the world works sometimes. So, and if you're out there and you've got questions about your money, or your family situation, you need counseling, 855-935-8255. Very quickly, I do want to mention a couple other things in the Secure Act 2.0. They created a bigger catch-up contribution for older retirement savers. Starting in 2025, savers between the ages of 60 and 63 can now save $10,000, which is more than the $6,500. But it's only for, from what I can see, those 60, 61, 62, and 63. Why cap that at 63? Why not let really old people like me at 64 still do that? Seems odd. Then they've also added this provision that makes it easier for employees to capture the contribution from their employers, the match, while still paying off student loans. So they're still getting the match because they get credit for that. It also makes it easier for people to get in and access emergency savings without paying the 10% tax penalty. You know, and again, those things are important. The only worry there is the whole idea behind setting up money for your retirement is to set it up for your retirement. If you're going to dip into it every time you have an emergency, that is not the best idea. There are other ways to save, and companies can do that as well. So there's some, again, I'm always glad that this comes up as a topic because it doesn't get the attention I think it deserves. Number two, I'm always glad that they make it easier to save. The auto-enrollment feature is terrific because, again, when you're 23 or 24, the idea that one day you'll be 60 years old is forget it, whoever thinks about that. And then the idea that you can save more when you're older is good. And the pushing back required minimum distributions to age 75. Yeah, I mean, people that don't need the money till 75, I don't think that's a big deal because there's a lot of things, if they don't need the money, they can give it away in other things between certainly 70 and 75. So those, again, always glad to have these things brought to the fore. I don't think the Secure Act 2.0 is going to go down as a huge change in retirement savings. But, you know, one thing you are thinking about today is spending, right? You know, and protecting yourself from people that might harm you there and getting the best deal and making sure you know about all the tricks of the trade. And here's a guy that, really invented a genre, and that is consumer reporting. And he's been doing it for 40 years. Of course, Emmy Award winning. He's worked for CBS, NBC. And I'm reading the memo here, and I don't know this is true. It says, I owe him lunch. But, I read these memos. I don't know who writes this stuff, but that's what it says. Our friend, the ConsumerMan, Herb Weisbaum, joins us here on Talking Real Money. Hey, Herb, thanks, sir, for taking time out of your holiday to jump on the program.
Pleasure. Your family may not be thrilled with you, Tom, but I love you 24/7.
You're my one
That's 'cause I don't
supporter
have to
today,
live with
so
you.
thank you. Exactly. You're a long way away and you only see me infrequently. So thank you. And thank you, by the way, for all of your great work over the years. And you're still a contributing editor, of course, at checkbook.org. You get the Consumerpedia podcast. There's all kinds of places to hear from Herb in addition to Northwest News Radio. So you sent me a couple ideas, and I had a couple ideas here, and I got to just find them because, as I said, I'm a little behind on everything. I'm not as up as I normally be.
Into my topic,
yeah.
Can I just tag onto what you were talking about?
Yeah,
Because
please.
You are absolutely right about what a big deal that is, that the employer is going to automatically sign the employees up. When I came into the radio station, there was a day when we actually came to work instead of did everything from home. And some of the younger people, it was time for the benefits, and I would try to explain to them, because you and I talk all the time, and I know what you've shared with people. You gotta start putting this money away, and you get the routine like these millennials. I just want to have a good time now, and I want to go out to restaurants, and I want to travel, and it's like, but someday you're going to be older like me, and you're going to need the money. It's like, I don't know. And then if you finally got them to sign up, then it was, I don't know anything about investing, and I don't want to deal with that. It's like, so I would say use a target fund. But now that's going to happen because young people don't think about someday when they're going to need the money, and sometimes you just have to make it easier for people to do the right thing for themselves. And I think this is going to be a really, really important thing that's going to help a lot of people as they get older.
Absolutely. Herb Weisbaum, our guest here on Talking Real Money. You wrote about something else young people are involved in a large way. I couldn't believe it. 78 million Americans are using buy now, pay later. And, I mean, this is, to me, it sounds like just like a layaway kind of program, but this is been gotten huge the last few years. Are there any, problems for young people that are doing this, that are sort of figuring out a way to space out payments on a major purchase?
Well, it sounds really good, and the whole idea was, when it started, before it got so huge, was a way for people who had the money to pay for something and just didn't want to destroy their cash flow, like, you were buying a gigantic big screen TV for several $1,000s, that you could break it up into 4 equal payments over a 6-week period. That's the basic strategy of this thing, and then you wouldn't have to pull that money out of your checking account to pay one big credit card bill. You could just spread it out, and that makes sense. And in most cases, it's interest-free, and the only time there's a fee is if you don't pay the money on time. What's happened now is this has grown in so popularity, it's everywhere. If you check out online, it's like it pops up right away before you check out, is people are now using these things to get around the fact that they don't have the money to pay for something. People are using it who don't have credit, so it's being marketed to lower people with no credit or lower credit scores, subprime credit borrowers. So that's being used that way. A lot of millennials who are not all, and younger people who are not all that money savvy yet at this point in time. And what happens is that one of two things. It gets you to spend more because, you take that $200 purchase, you only have to pay $50 now, and all of a sudden that seems like, wow, I can spend more money and put more things in my cart because I only spent $50 today. Yeah, but you have this obligation to make those other payments. So number one, it gets you to buy things. That's why retailers do it. It gets you to actually make the sale and not leave things in your cart. They actually pay the buy now, pay later companies, Tom, a commission higher than what they pay the credit card companies. So that says to me it's working. If you're willing to pay a commission higher than the credit card companies, this is closing the deal. Number two, it gets you to buy more. And number three, people are getting into trouble because they're stacking these things up and they're buying all sorts of things this way all at the same time from different buy now, pay later services. And they come to it all different times. It's not like making different credit card charges. You get one bill at the end of the month. You know what you have to pay. You know when you have to pay it. These are coming from different companies, different times of the month. You may or may not have all that money you need in your checking account. From the people I've talked to, you don't always get notices that you have to pay this. You have to keep track of it on your calendar. If you don't pay, there's a fee, $7 or $8, which is a pretty sizable fee on a $50 payment or something like that, which the average payments are something like that. And
Herb, we're going to have to get you to hang on a second here. If you can hang on with us, 855-935-8255 as we continue talking real money.
Talking real money. For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hey, Tom Cock here with you. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, the day before Christmas 2022. And yes, we are live on the air. We kind of promised each other that we would each do one of these shows And so here we are today. Don will be on his own next Saturday. And our friend, the ConsumerMan, Emmy Award-winning journalist, Herb Weisbaum, joining us on Talking Real Money as well. You know, the other thing that's kind of interesting to see that you mentioned in a recent piece you wrote about is the fact that the whole idea that you can buy something online and then return it to a retailer and not pay a return fee, it appears to be coming to an end. It's I think in your note it said something like 40% of online retailers now charge you for returns. That's something people need to pay attention to, no doubt.
Yeah, they're trying to fix a system that they created, Amazon, thank you, which is you take all the stuff and get it at home. It's called bracketing. So you like a sweater and you get it in 6 colors, and then you send every 5 in the back and keep the one you like. That costs retailers a lot of money. There's all kinds of processing fees for returns, and sometimes they can't sell them. They have to give them away, or they just throw them away or trash them or whatever, and it costs them a lot of money. So a number of stores are adding return fees. They range from about $3 to about $8. Some of the big ones that added it this season are Abercrombie and Fitch, Anthropologie, Boohoo, JCPenney, J. Crew, and Zara. And even LL Bean, which is famous for its 1-year return for any reason policy, now charges $6.50 for returns and exchanges made via UPS or U.S. Mail, unless you bought it with their LLB MasterCard. So you really have to check if you're going to send something back. There may be, and what they do is they just take that out of your return check, Tom. You know, with the money you're going to get back, they just take it out of the refund you're supposed to get. So if there's a store around, that is still free. So that's your best option if there's one of these charges, but you need to check and see if there's a policy to change this thing. The business model is broken, and they got to fix it somehow. They created it, unfortunately.
It's an interesting thing, again, that this is not unexpected, right? But it's something most people don't pay attention to, and they really need to, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine if you did one of these bracketing things and you got 6 sweaters. You know, I don't know if you can get them all in one package or what you're going to do or how they're going to handle you, but that's just a bad business model. Like, take all this stuff home and then ship it back to us, and we'll figure out what to do with it, all the stuff you didn't buy. It's just they have to figure this one out, and this is what they're trying to do, is to get people just to buy the stuff they really want and then send back the stuff they can't use.
And we're talking with Herb Weisbaum, the ConsumerMan, here on Talking Real Money. Yeah, we're doing it live. It's Christmas Eve. We look back on 2022. What are going to be some of the bigger scams that people are going to remember from this year?
Oh, you know, the cryptocurrency is probably the biggest one, and I'm not talking about the cryptocurrency bankruptcy that just happened. I'm talking about that the con artists moved to cryptocurrency. So almost everything that was done via credit card and debit card and that sort of thing either moved to cryptocurrency or moved to it continued with buying cards, with gift cards. That's a big one, or with the peer-to-peer apps, Zelle and Venmo and all that kind of thing. But crypto is the really big one. And if you're involved with some kind of purchase and you're told it has to be via crypto, warning bells should sound, flares should go off. You should be, because it's non-traceable, non-returnable, non-refundable. It's gone, one and done, it's gone, and that's why they want you to use cryptocurrency. So that's the big one, and federal regulators are trying to work on that, but that's the really, really big one now, is cryptocurrency scams.
And the new year is coming very, very soon. I think it's like, a week away or something. And it seems to me that scams in general there's more sophistication to them today than maybe when you started reporting on the Consumer Beat 40 years ago. What's your take on that?
Oh, absolutely. The con artists are using all the technology at their disposal to do various kinds of things. I mean, when I first started, the one that goes around right now, your car warranty is expired and you need to, the robocalls that do that. I have the postcards. They start out as a postcard. The Nigerian scam letter, I have letters from Nigeria with stamps, Nigerian stamps on them. Now, of course, they're on an email on the Internet. Yeah, they're the same scams in many cases, but they just moved the technology. But technology now also lets you to spoof phone numbers, allows you to fake web addresses, allows you to steal entire websites, copy and paste them, steal pictures for testimonials. They have all these tools at their disposal, which they use against us. And it's getting worse. It's a real minefield out there. And maybe in the next
I'm glad. That's why we're glad you're here. Herb, thank you very much for your time today. Herb Weisbaum, the Consumer Man. You can check him all out at checkbook.org and, of course, here on Northwest News Radio. We will continue 855-935-TALK in a moment.
Are talking real money. Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hey, thanks for being part of Talking Real Money here on Christmas Eve 2022. We are live. Yeah, we're doing the program. Maybe it's a dare to Don McDonald because he's not here. He'll be here next week. But happy to take your calls. I should have mentioned this. I forgot. I'm absent-minded. If you call today and ask a question, I will send you, and wow, this is, talk about your great Christmas gift. I'm going to send you a free, absolutely free, multicolor, full color, Talking Real Money t-shirt. These are nice. And if you're in the habit of changing your own oil, they work well too. No, I'm kidding about the last point. They're nice shirts. So if you call 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255, yeah, I'm going to send you a t-shirt that will not arrive in time for Christmas, sorry to say, along with several things I ordered, which were supposed to be here yesterday, but they're still sliding around somewhere. You know, I bought my first house in 1985. And you know what? I just looked this up because I thought it was double digits, but I wasn't sure. The average interest rate in 1985, and I'm sure I probably paid more than this, was 12.96%. 12.96%. Wow. And I'm guessing because I was a fairly young man at the time and didn't make a lot of money that I probably paid more than that. And today, I think if you go to 30-year fixed, you're looking at 6.5%. So still much cheaper, but because that's gone up so fast and sales are decreasing quickly, again, I think we talked about this recently on a podcast, you have this weird market right now where people are kind of getting competitive about wanting to sell their homes, which leads to these mortgage buy downs. You may have heard of these, like a 3-2-1. It lowers the rate by 3 percentage points for the first year on the mortgage, 2% the second year, and 1% the third. The idea here is you buy down the interest rate so that you don't have to pay the 6. You can afford more home, right? And the idea here is that you hope that rates will come down in those 3 years. Now, no one knows that. And in fact, there have been periods of time where people said rates have to do fill in the blank, and they haven't done it. And so I'm a little uncomfortable when I read this. So it ends up what happens is in bad times, and we may be headed into one if you believe the state of the economy and all the pundits in 2023, we may be headed into a recession. You've already seen, of course, layoffs in technology, and that may be a prelude to other layoffs. But let's say you get into one of these 3-2-1s, you buy more house than you could afford otherwise. And by the way, that's usually covered by the home seller or the lender. I mean, pardon me, the buyer, the builders. A lot of builders are doing this for new homes. And you get into this place and then you can't afford it, right? When that goes away, it's troublesome. I mean, it falls a little like what we just talked about in the previous segment about sort of buy now, pay later, or put something on a credit card that has a very high interest rate. All of those kind of things, unless you are really, really sure that your income is going to be there to handle the larger payment, right? Or the debt you've incurred or any of those things, I don't recommend this. I think it's risky. And then on the other side of the equation, the other mistake I see is for people more my age who oftentimes have some money saved. They want to spend down their mortgage in retirement. They say, I still owe $400,000 on my mortgage on $1 million house. What about taking $200,000 of my liquid assets and sort of paying that mortgage down to $200,000? And the reality there oftentimes is, no, you're going to need the liquidity. Because when you retire, you got to be able to pay the bills. You can't do that with home equity other than basically a reverse mortgage. So there's a couple of things to consider here around these, both the mortgage buydowns and mortgage payoffs that I don't think people pay close enough attention to. We all still believe it's fascinating that real estate only goes up. And sadly, for those of you old enough to remember 2008, 2009, 2001, late 80s in the Seattle area, I mean, real estate at times does go down. It can go down a lot, and it could stay down for a while. I mean, we had the weird spring of 2020 with COVID, and then sort of sprung right back up again for a variety of reasons. But I wouldn't get gimmicky about any of this. I'd only do what I can afford, and I'd certainly want to know all the details of what could go wrong in the future. 855-935-8255. Give me a call. Yeah, that's right, a free Talking Real Money t-shirt coming your way for somebody who calls. So thanks for being part of the program. We'll be right back.
Tom and Don are talking real money. Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Thanks for joining us here on Talking Real Money. And yes, we are live on the radio today, December 24th, 2022, 855-935-8255, 855-935-TALK. I'm Tom Cock. Don McDonald has the day off. He will be doing the show solo next Saturday, so please join him for that. In the interim, we are giving away Talking Real Money t-shirts to people who call today, which I greatly appreciate. I should have mentioned, by the way, the shirts are short sleeve. So, not be great apparel in the current situation, but, hopefully down the road it'll get better. And kind enough to call us is Harry, who now joins us on Talking Real Money. Hi, Harry.
Hey, Tim. How are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I was just driving through the Seattle. It's kind of slippery. But I heard of this shirt thing on
yes,
the
sir.
radio.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I could kill two birds with one arrow.
Okay.
Because I'm going to visit. I'm going to visit my family, and my Uncle Joe. I don't know if you can help. We have these arguments about money, and sometimes he gets really violent and throws things. And I was wondering, does that shirt staunch blood well?
We haven't tried it for that yet, but you're certainly welcome to, try it as a tourniquet or maybe for your uncle just around his head so he can't speak.
Big gaping, like a bleeding wound. What do they call those things?
Sucking chest wound or something. Yeah. That's wow. That's
yeah.
This takes on the T-shirt thing takes on a whole new meaning with that, Harry. Thank you for that.
Is it really, really thick? Just thick?
Not thick enough for either the wound nor the cold of which we face today. No.
Damn, Tom. Jeez.
Not much good news there. Hey, do you have another question other than that? Because we have other people waiting.
Tom, I do have another question.
Yeah.
Why are you blaming Don McDonald for not being there when it's all your fault that you wanted to do this show alone?
Oh my God!
I don't know why the heck you're blaming Don.
That was good. That was right to that moment. That just shows you what a great actor you really are.
You were like frantically trying to figure out a way to hang up on me, weren't you?
I was going to click. Wow. For those of you who don't know, this is my longtime partner, and I should have recognized the voice, but that is Don McDonald. I literally, I didn't know. Well done, sir.
I know.
You got me going there.
That's because I called and said I was Harry.
And your voice was very, very convincing, I got to say. Wow. I hope
anyway,
you're...
I just wanted to call and give you hell because apparently you have to bribe callers to be on the show.
Well, so far you're number one, so I do have a couple people after you.
Okay.
So you deserve a day off, so I hope you take it and hang out with your family and take care of them.
You go get them. My wife is calling going, where the heck is my husband?
Well, you had me going there, Harry. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas.
Wow, that was...
Bye.
Yeah, that was really something. He had me go. I had no idea. All right, let's go back to the phones. And Pat, I hope this is not someone else from my past that I don't recognize either. But Pat, you're on the program.
Yeah, I never knew you before, so I'm not the one you're thinking of.
Good. How can I help?
No, I hear your ads about this hodgepodge-itis. No, I've been in the market since 1969, and I've had some suggestions, and I bought them, and I've made money on them, and I've had suggestions that I've acted on them, and I've lost money on them. As it stands, a year ago, I had $4.5 million that I could have cashed out. Now I'm down to $1 million from that. I'm only down to 3.6. I do my own investing. Anyway, I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Well, I mean, I guess is your question, if you have a lot of things that you've accumulated in 50 years, should you be selling them? Probably not, because of the capital gains, right?
Well, the capital gains scare me, but I got some capital losses, so I keep them in reserve so that I can use them. My big holdings are Microsoft, IBM, and PACCAR, which are.
They're all great
if I
companies.
Met anybody if I met somebody on the street and he wanted to know, do I suggest IBM, Microsoft, and PACCAR? PACCAR has really been a really.
It's a great company.
I learned about
used to cover it when I had the TV show here. The reason that we have the ads for hodgepodgeitis is what we see is generally people, and we'll talk more about this next hour, they have too many accounts. They don't know what they're paying others. If you hold individual stocks, obviously you're paying nothing. And they don't know the risk they're taking. I mean, for you, somebody that, if you've been investing for 50 years and you have a $3.5 million portfolio and it doesn't sound like you need the money that much, then big deal, right? Most of the people that we talk to have less than that. They have a variety they have several IRAs, for example. They have a taxable account. They've kind of picked up ideas along the way. I bought technology, then I bought something else, and they need to clean that up. And the other part is they end up owning way too many funds. But if you're an individual stock investor, it's worked for you, God bless. It wouldn't be what I would do because I don't trust those companies one-off. Even great companies like Microsoft and PACCAR eventually one day will go away. Don't know when, don't know what the cause will be. I'd rather have my portfolio in 13,000 companies. Pat, thank you very much for your call. And let's see if we can squeeze in another one here with Carl here on Talking Real Money. Hi, Carl.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for taking my call. First off, I want to say Merry Christmas to you and to Dawn, who called in earlier. You guys have helped my wife and I out this year, and we're clients of y'all, so I appreciate everything y'all have done and Roxy's done for us. But I do have a question about the Secure 2.0 bill. My wife, fortunately, because of our financial situation, has been able to stop working this year. So that lowers our income by about $110,000. And I see that Secure 2.0 will allow employers, if they choose to make matches in a employee's Roth 401k. Now, because my wife and I's income combined had been pushing around $400,000, it'll be, under $300 now. Is that something that I should look to take advantage of to move some of my withholdings from my traditional 401k to the Roth, knowing that my company can make matching contributions in the Roth?
I'd say absolutely. I mean, that's a brand new thing, right? Because up till now, of course, any contributions from an employer have to go into the pre-tax, the traditional 401k. Yeah, I think it's going to open up some windows for people to save more post-tax. So and in a general sense, and I think you know this already, Carl, I believe in having sort of numerous buckets, if you will, to pull from, pre-tax, post-tax, tax-free like Roth. I think that makes a ton of sense. So, yeah, I'd be looking into that and maybe do some of each. I think it's a terrific idea. And thank you for the trust you place in us. 855-935-8255. We will continue here on Christmas Eve talking real money.
Tom and Don are talking real money. For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
If you're like me, the end of the year is a good time to kind of look at how things have gone this year and look ahead to 2023. Certainly your finances should be part of all that, and we're glad to give you the look. Pat just mentioned, what about the hodgepodge portfolio? Many of you have many securities. You don't know what you're paying others. You don't know how much risk you're taking. All of these things you should know. And so we look at it absolutely free. If you go to talkingrealmoney.com, you can meet an advisor there. And for no charge, we'll review your portfolio. We'll tell you where you are. We have a wonderful, huge report that dives in deep to all of these securities. And again, cost nothing, no sales, no obligation, no sales pitch. So take advantage of that. Get your new year off on the right foot. And again, it's as simple as going to talkingrealmoney.com, meet an advisor.
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future, so past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Appella Capital, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit talkingrealmoney.com for more information and disclosures. Are we done now?